Welcome to fiscal training for board members on some of the key aspects of the Local Government Budget and Fiscal Control Act. Module 3 deals with the finance officer, monthly financial reports, and fund balance. Each local government and public authority is required by the Local Government Budget and Fiscal Control Act, or LGBFCA, to appoint a finance officer. The board has a responsibility to ensure that a qualified person is in the role of finance officer. The board should provide adequate salary and resources, such as training and staff, to make sure the finance officer can complete legally required work timely and accurately. North Carolina General Statute 159-25A9 allows the governing board to hire a third-party contract bookkeeper to help complete the financial work. However, the role of the finance officer must be delegated to someone that is an employee or board member appointed as the finance officer to oversee the contractor's work. If the unit chooses to hire a third-party bookkeeper, then a well-developed contract with specific requirements for work to be completed and the due dates should be executed with the contractor. A staff person or a board member should be held responsible for managing the contract and holding the contractor accountable for timely work. The third-party bookkeeper should attend the governing board meetings and be available to answer questions as the board might have. The contract for a third-party bookkeeper should include a requirement for monthly reporting to be provided to the board. The contract should also include language that allows the government to withhold payment for a specific month until accurate and timely reports are provided to the board. A sample contract can be found on our website. The LGBFCA requires the finance officer be bonded at an amount not less than $50,000. The statute is dated and the coverage level may not be adequate for most units. Depending upon size of the unit and complexity of its activities and functions, units should work with their insurer to determine and procure an adequate level of coverage. The posted bond is intended for the protection of the public funds and the local government, not the employee. North Carolina General Statute 159-25 details other specific job responsibilities, which are discussed over the next slides. The finance officer is responsible for keeping all the local government's accounts in ordinance with generally accepted accounting principles and with the rules of the LGC, dispersing all funds in compliance with NCGS 159 and the budget ordinance, and preparing financial reports as requested by the governing board or the manager. The finance officer is also responsible for receiving and depositing all of the unit's revenues and funds, managing debt, supervising the investments, and attending training that may be required by the LGC. Governing boards should insist that the finance officer or third-party bookkeeper produce monthly financial reports for their review at their board meetings. Monthly reporting provides critical oversight as part of the governing board's responsibility for stewardship over taxpayer money. The reports must be up to date and accurate for them to benefit the board. A monthly report should contain summarized budget to actual revenues and expenditures for the general fund and each utility fund. This report will inform the governing board if the revenues and expenditures are on target with the budget. The finance officer and the third-party bookkeeper should also report how the funds are tracking compared to previous years. These reports help the board make informed decisions in the current year and help them prepare the subsequent year's budget. The monthly reports should include written explanations for unusual transactions. The report should include an explanation of any accounts that are under or overperforming against the budgeted expectations. There should not be a time when a governing board is unaware of the financial state of the local government's finances. If the board is presented with information they do not understand, they have a responsibility to continue following up until they are clear on the information they are receiving. The governing board should ask for the reports they need to ensure that they have the information they need to make wise decisions and fulfill their responsibilities. Concerning a government's fund balance, the unit may have different types of spendable funds, such as assigned and unassigned funds. Unassigned funds are sometimes known as unrestricted funds. There are no restrictions on these funds, and these funds represent cash that can be used as needed by the government. However, the fund balance is a cash reserve or a savings account that should not be used to fund day-to-day operations. The government will need to have adequate reserves on hand to address emergency needs, such as a hurricane or other weather event. Local governments should be careful to monitor their fund balance to make sure they have adequate amounts available in the event of an emergency. More information on these topics can be found at the Department of State Treasurer website, the UNC School of Government website, the North Carolina League of Municipalities website, and the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners website. If you have questions about any of the information provided here, please call 919-814-3900 or contact us at lgcmonitoring@nctreasurer.com. To get credit for this module, please return to the Governing Board Training webpage and click on and complete the Module 3 quiz. The questions in this quiz are: what is the least amount the LGB-FCA requires the finance officer to be bonded for? Who is responsible for preparing financial reports and supervising investments for the unit? And who should always know the financial state of the government?